Hi guys, Mass here, and I finally got to Nintendo. My Nintendo history is rather unusual compared to the rest. My first console, as you know, if you watched the previous one, was the Mega Drive. For 16-bit era, I was Sega with the Mega Drive. Then I was PlayStation 1 mainly. But then we move into, sort of my early teens and stuff, where you had the Dreamcast, the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. So I'm going to go through my sort of favourite Nintendo consoles, going from the worst to the best. But they sort of might be in blocks compared to just actual systems, due to Nintendo having a long history with gaming. So my worst Nintendo console is not the Virtual Boy, it's actually the Pokemon Mini. Pokemon Mini is just felt more of a novelty than an actual handheld. Really small, kind of fiddly. Not many games, so that's really why it is my least sort of favourite Nintendo console. Then it would be the Virtual Boy. Virtual Boy is actually quite interesting. I've owned two Virtual Boys, and both Virtual Boys are swapped for an Atari Jaguar. I don't know why, but that's just what happened. I've played more Virtual Boy than Pokemon Mini, and I've played like the Mario Tennis game, I played the Wario game, I've played a Tetris game on it, and I feel I've played something else. It might be that like Lilac Wars type game that isn't a Lilac Wars game. So I've played like 4 games on the Virtual Boy, and the Wario game on the Virtual Boy is really good. And it's that's why it's really picked the Pokemon Mini to like the worst, because it has that really good game on it that is really worth playing. But the Pokemon Mini does not have that. So then it goes that. Then I would actually say the NES. The reason I'm going for the NES next, because to get to the Game Boys in a minute, is NES is obviously came out before I was born, so I won't gone back afterwards. I don't really have that much nostalgia for it, but it has some quality games for the system, such as the Super Mario Bros. 3, Kirby's Adventure. The other Super Mario Bros. Obviously Zelda 1, Final Fantasy. Obviously a lot of classic franchises started on the system, but going back to some of them now is quite hard to do, and some of them have been better, such as Zelda of Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, etc. So that's why that is actually here. Next going to say is the Wii U. I'm putting actually the Wii U above the NES, which is, I know, is going to shock a lot of people, but the Wii U has actually got a really good library of games. You got Splatoon, you got Bayonetta 1 and 2, you've got The Wonderful 101, you've got 3D World, you got Mario Kart 8. What else have you got? There's other games on there. I'm sure there's more games on there. There's more games people think that are on that system are really good. Pikmin 3 was the one I actually was thinking of. Yeah, it's actually got a really decent library of games. It's just that it's a small library. Not people take much notice of. That's So like the NES, I think is really, if you look at the NES now, like the NES Mini and that, it's got a lot of nostalgia and that, and it has got some quality games, and is historically is a really good system. But to play now, and obviously my history of Nintendo, I think I would just put the Wii U over the NES. Then I would go the Wii. Not a huge fan of the Wii at all. I actually nearly put it at the bottom, but I do think it had the motion controls, which I found after a while just the gimmick just worn off. But that's some really good titles, even though I'm not a big fan of the controls, and a lot of people wonder what I'm even on about with Super Mario Galaxy. But that is like my most wanted HD remaster in like ever, apart from like Shenmue 1 and 2. If I could have any game HD, that would be the Galaxy games in the set, just with like proper controls. So you got them. I know they're absolutely fantastic games, possibly some of the best games ever made. So that's really why the Wii is gone above these other ones. I really like the last story on it. I thought that was a really good RPG. You had the two other Pandora's Tower and Xenoblade. I did not get on with Xenoblade at all. Pandora's Tower I thought was fairly okay. Then you got obviously the Mario Kart games, and what else is on there? You got like things like Fatal Frame and which is Project Zero as well. And what else did I really like on it? You had the Resident Evil 4 Wii edition, which is mostly the best version of Resident Evil. It's got a lot of quality games. Again, it's a weird one, like the Wii. It's got, you look at it from like the outside and you go, oh, and got that many great games, but it mostly has, and its library is really good and really good. It's just all these consoles I've never played that much of, or despite being like one really good game, like Skyward Sword, I haven't even talked about that. It's actually really good. It's sort of been like, I want that system. There's that one really good game on the system. Let's play it, and that's about it. And that's that. Then we're getting into the real good ones, and then I would go the Game Boys. Game Boys are putting sort of together. They sort of all like in my head melded into one when I think of the Game Boys, sort of thing. Obviously had a color, had an Advance. The Advance, I think maybe it's actually the worst one, not the color, just because some like its best titles are things like Link to the Past, which are really SNES games. Then you had like Fire Red and Leaf Green. The original Game Boy, for its historic purpose, like the NES. But then you think of the games like Pokemon Red and Blue, absolutely phenomenal games, and like the Wario games, I'm a really big fan of them on the Game Boys, and most probably, really good handhelds, sort of thing. But I've never been that big in handheld fan, so I can sort of miss them. Same with the DS and the 3DS. Again, great games on them. I never really got that much into the DS. I got more into the 3DS and getting to know more of the Nintendo community. What was N-Gamer, now like G-Namer, like OMM, Super OMM, like Twitter, and following Nintendo people. So I got way more into the 3DS than the DS due to like knowing other people that into Nintendo. But yeah. You can really, all these systems really I'm talking about now, you can put in any order, you can give me any of them really, apart from maybe the Pokemon Mini Virtual Boy, and give me a bunch of games and I will enjoy them, like them. There will be one standout game that I really want to play on the system, and that would be it. That is my thoughts on like those Nintendo systems. Like I said, you can put them in any order. Really, the big ones to me are, so the next one, this is more of an actual order now. It's going to go for Super Nintendo. Reason, again, Mega Drive kid, so I did play Super Nintendo when Super Nintendo was one of the main systems on the market, playing like Super Mario World. I didn't like it back then because I was playing Sonic and I thought, what is this slowness? But going back since to Super Nintendo, its library is really good, and it sort of pains me to say it, but I think it's mostly better than the Mega Drive now. The graphics with like colours and things like games like Yoshi's Island is absolutely beautiful. Okay, we're in Europe, so we didn't actually get Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo, but nowadays you can import it, play it on something else. It's still like that. It's still a Super Nintendo game or a Super Famicom game. And things like the Chrono Triggers and that. We've watched Retrocast. Not many people have watched it on my channel, watched it elsewhere. These games I want to play, or Chrono Trigger I've not actually played due to still being sort of expensive. But Final Fantasy VI I have played here and there. So there are some quality titles, and then like Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country games. Really good system. The only so next one I think is better than the Super Nintendo is the N64. N64 I did get around the same time as PS1. My Nan won an N64 in an Andrex competition, and I believe I had one game for it when I got it, which my uncle got me, was Shadow of the Empire, which is actually not that good a game. I thought it was really good when I first played it, but now it's not very good. And I think I remember renting Super Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. I'm trying to work out the time of when things come out, but because Ocarina of Time seems way too late for when I would have won it. But, back then, sort of like jumbles back, you remember things. But the 64 is higher than the SNES because of Ocarina of Time, pretty much. Possibly one of the best games ever made. I said that about Galaxy. This is the thing with Nintendo. You talk about some of the best games ever made. Most of them will be Nintendo games. Obviously, there is other ones on the other system. Ocarina of Time is arguably one of the best. Then you got things like GoldenEye, playing that multiplayer was, you know, really good. Same with Mario Kart 64. Really, it's due to memories and nostalgia, which I have more for on the N64 than the SNES, because I, you know, the SNES I played during that time and gone back. The N64 I played during that time properly, you know, more often, and then even moving into like the early 2000s and stuff like that, the N64 was still, you know, still around, and me and my mates still play GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64 quite often. So that's really why it's there. The next one is going to be on offers, and it's actually the last one apart from the Switch. Switch is an odd one. Obviously it's just come out. It's lots of people are taking it different ways what the Switch is. I'm taking it as a handheld that you can plug into your TV. To me, that's right what it feels like. That's how I've been playing it. Obviously you might be playing it different. I've, you know, played Zelda on it. I played that on the TV because that felt like a genuine console game. But a lot of the same with Mario Kart 8, but a lot of the games that come to it, due to being more indie, it felt more like handheld games, and that's how I've played them. Like Sonic Mania is coming up soon. I'm going to buy that on Switch, not PS4, because it feels like a game that I want to play on the handheld, not on the console. And Forces I most actually buy on PS4 because it feels like a game I play on the console, not a handheld, if that makes any sense or whatever. Switch obviously just come out. We, you know, look back in like 3-4 years time, you know, what I think of it, sort of thing. But now it's interesting. So my favourite Nintendo system, I think I've, you know, gone through them all. Yeah, NES, N64, Wii U, all the Game Boys, Virtual Boy, Pokemon Me. Yeah, so my favourite Nintendo system is the GameCube. GameCube is an odd one, obviously coming from maybe a, you know, mainly a Sega fan. Mega Drive, you know, had Dreamcast before PS2 and stuff. That died. Nintendo to me was the enemy. You know, to bring it more back to fanboy sort of terms. You know, had the PlayStation in between, but you know, Sonic was, you know, the cool dude. Mega Drive, you know, Sega does what Nintendo and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, the Dreamcast died. We know that. I had a PS2. And I'm not sure which came out first, the Mega Drive or the original Xbox. I think not the Mega Drive, GameCube one. So Mega Drive, GameCube or the original Xbox. I think the GameCube came out first. It must have. It's really odd because like there would be no reason for me to go out and buy a GameCube day one if you look at like how I was playing games and what games I was playing. But it was just something about the GameCube that drew me to the system. I don't know if because it had Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and like Super Monkey Ball on it, and, you know, 2 Sega titles and things like Bloody Roar, which I liked on the PS1. But it's just something about it drew me to the system. So yeah, I picked up a GameCube at launch, which was the first ever system I bought at launch myself. Well, apart from the GBA, that's a handheld, first ever home console. Bought it at launch. I think it was 265 quid with, I want to say, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Luigi's Mansion, Bloody Roar, and Star Wars. I'm pretty sure I had 4 games. And like a memory card and an unofficial controller. And I had a purple one. I wanted a black one, but I ended up with a purple or indigo. But yeah, it's just really good. It's what really opened my eyes to Nintendo. Like I said, I had an N64 but never really played that much apart from mates. You know, played GoldenEye with mates, played Mario Kart 64 with mates, but Ocarina of Time I didn't really play that much. I was playing my PS1, I was playing Metal Gear, Resident Evil, you know, bits of Final Fantasy here and there, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, you know, Tekken and things like that. You know, N64 was like, I'll plug it in when mates here play GoldenEye, you know, that there we go sort of thing. Yeah, but the GameCube is what really turned me into a fan of Nintendo, just due to the sheer amount of, you know, games and the quality. Wind Waker is my favourite Zelda title. I don't know because it's actually my first Zelda that I played properly, and how I played and finished Ocarina of Time was through the GameCube with the bonus disc. That's really good. It's the first time I played Majora's Mask with the GameCube as well, and the collector's disc. So yeah, really. Then you had things like Pikmin, new IPs, Animal Crossing, Eternal Darkness, the Resident Evil games. Remake. Oh, it's fantastic. Resident Evil 4, Beyond Good and Evil. I know that came to other systems, but it just felt like a game that suited Nintendo systems. Mario Kart Double Dash, which to me is still the best Mario Kart. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, that has not been topped by any other Paper Mario games. You had Twin Snakes, which is an odd one because I actually quite like it, but then I can, it has got the issues and stuff and that. But like my N64 GameCube collection is near 100 games. I've got a Japanese GameCube, I've got a bunch of Japanese games for it. I got like Zelda, it's like Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess to me is a GameCube game, not a Wii game. It's a GameCube game. And then I'm thinking, what else is on there? Yeah, there's hundreds of games that I was looking the other day, having nearly 100 GameCube games, if there's any really more that I want on the system, and there's loads. Like, I don't own Kirby Air Ride, I don't own Fire Emblem on it. There's a Sonic game I don't own on it that I kind of want. There's things like the Mario Baseball game, that's going to be really fun. The Mario Sport games were really fun on the GameCube as well. And you had like Smash Bros with Melee, a bit like the N64 with the multiplayer. Played a lot of multiplayer of GameCube, most probably more than any other system ever, especially local multiplayer. But unlike the N64, I also played the single player games. Apart from maybe the Dreamcast, you watch the Sega. The GameCube is the only system I can think that comes close to the Dreamcast being my favourite system. It's really a toss-up between those two. I think Nintendo's not beat the GameCube with any of the systems. The three systems since the GameCube. I think a lot of games have not topped the GameCube's games. I still think Double Dash is better than any Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 is a phenomenal game. Looks great, but there's something about Double Dash and something about Melee. Don't know if it's nostalgia talking, but there's just they have this the weight to them. There's something about them. And then the single player games. Okay, Sunshine is not that great, but and not that great 3D Mario is much really better than nearly every other 3D platform around. And then it had third party support. Like I played NHL games on the GameCube, not like the PS2, because it had third party support. So I played Time Splitters 2 on the GameCube as well as the original Xbox. It's fantastic for that. So yeah, that is my thoughts on that on Nintendo. I love Nintendo. GameCube is what brought me really to Nintendo. It's what I've gone back and played other Nintendo systems, like being able to play Ocarina of Time on the GameCube is what's made me buy a Wii at launch, a Wii U at launch, a Switch at launch, a 3DS at launch, an import American launch DS, new 3DS, because Nintendo make the best games. They're second to none with their first party games. They're not all of them might not click with me and stuff like that. And some of them may have issues like Galaxy. I don't like the controls. People throw. There's nothing wrong with the controls. I'm not a fan of Breath of the Wild. Everyone will think I'm nuts, but then Nintendo still do. Even if I'm not, I can still see the qualities of the Galaxy. Like I said, I want the HD version of that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Nintendo. That's all the systems. I'm not sure if I'm going to do like an other system video or just move on to like talking the Zeldas, talking about the Halos or whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again.